Y'all, I just want to say that trying to get the perfect setup in the car is interesting, but we are doing it. You know, when you got to make content, you got to make content when you feel inspired, when you're on the go, wherever you are. And luckily, I just got myself a new phone. So this camera is very spiffy, okay? And let me just tell you why I had to get myself a new phone. Y'all, this is the second time that I have lost my phone. And the first time I lost it, I was really hard on myself. And I feel like I was really hard on myself because I have a tendency of losing things. So with ADHD, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my sensory issues or whatever, but like, let's say I have this paper and this Nesquik and this thing and then my keys, like all in one hand. And then I'm walking and then I'm just like in my head and I'm just like dissociating. What will happen is I feel like my hands eventually become like numb and I forget what I'm carrying. And then I just drop shit. Like for real, like I could drop something and not even know that I dropped something. And then that's what happened to me. So the first time it happened, I was getting the groceries out of the car, right? And so, you know me, I'm trying to do one trip, you know what I'm saying? I got all the groceries, trying to bring it in, right? So I didn't realize that I had dropped my phone. So I go inside, I immediately call it. And of course, you know what I'm saying? They ain't picking up. You already know the vibes. When they ain't picking up, it's lost. So I got so mad because one, I had that phone forever and I'm a type of person that I don't really like to change my phone like that. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of vibes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really with the times. I'm just for functionality. I don't like to spend a lot of money on things that I feel like, you know, there's going to be a next version and a next version. And then, you know, phones are expensive. Anyway, so I was really hard on myself. The second time it happened, which was like the other day, I was walking my dog and normally I have a book bag. I always bring a book bag. But this time I didn't bring a book bag because I was like, you know what? I'm not really carrying much stuff. I don't need much stuff. I'm just walking the dog, right? I decided to take a walk that was longer than usual. So I was like, damn, I'm thirsty, right? So I go to the deli and I get some water. And then she says, oh, the water bottles are like $2 for $1. So I'm like, bet. Get 2 waters. Then I go and I get a cup of cut up watermelon. So I got all these things, including my dog, right? So I'm just carrying this stuff. And midway, somehow I realized that I didn't have my phone anymore. And I was like, oh my God, my headphones were like disconnected. So I was like, oh shit, like where is it now? The first thought, I was like, damn. And I didn't have another phone on me. Usually sometimes I have my work phone on me so I could like call and see what's up, but I didn't have that on me. So in that moment, something I did differently was I decided to change my mindset. So I started walking home, right? There's nothing I could do. I can't call it. Like I still got a little bit of a walk to go home. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call it when I get home. If I find it, great. If I don't find it, I'm just going to look at this as an opportunity to get a new phone, one that I actually like, because I had the 14 and I had got the 14 once I lost my 13. Because I was like, you know what? It's a little bit of an upgrade. I'm not breaking the bank, right? But now that I'm doing content creation, I'm making videos, I know I need a good camera. Y'all, the camera is everything. On this 16 Pro, the camera is everything. I just want to say that. So anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this as an opportunity to get new equipment. And I'm going to see this as an investment into like my content creation. And I just completely changed my mindset. And obviously I got home. I called again. I stalked the location. It was jumping around. The person wasn't picking up. So I already knew the vibes. So that same day, I took myself to the Apple store. I bought myself a 16 Pro. And thank God that I had the Nest Egg. I just want to say, like, I love the responsible person that I'm becoming, that is saving money, that is like, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when I didn't care and I was just like recklessly spending money, I would not have had a Nest Egg to go get myself a phone. Like I would have been asked out, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that I've been saving money and I've been like being more responsible has really benefited me, because there's been a couple of things that I've been like, oh shit. And then I remember I have this Nest Egg and I feel just so proud. And I'm like, oh my God, I can trust myself to solve my problems. So with that being said, I went and I got myself a new phone. And I don't know, like afterwards, I was like, you know what? I don't blame myself. And I was like, you know what? It's not your fault. Like, this is something that you've dealt with for a really long time. Like, even when I was young, y'all, like, I remember my mom, she used to get credit, right? In the deli. Like, that's a thing in the hood. You know what I'm saying? You get a little credit at the deli, you go and get your milk, whatever, and you pay them later. So she used to send me to go pay the guy money, whatever, when she would get her money to pay him back for the credit. And I remember I used to be walking and I would drop the money and my mom would want to kill me when I got back to the house. Like, bro, if she didn't hit me, she would definitely like yell at me like crazy and just shame me. And I would feel like shit. And I feel like every point after that, I started doing that to myself. Like every time I lost something, I just made myself feel like shit. And it's easy to be like, damn, I should have been paying attention. Damn, if I did XYZ, like this wouldn't have happened. But hindsight is 2020. And at the end of the day, like when you have ADHD, that's actually one of the questions like in the assessments. It says like, do you frequently lose things, misplace things? Like it is a part of the diagnosis. So it is a symptom and sometimes it's going to happen. And once I started processing it like that, I was like, you know what? It's not my fault. Like shit happens. And I just decided to be so nice to myself about it. I ended up having like a really good sales associate. We just got into a deep conversation about all these things. And I got my phone. I'm recording on it now. Like it's super clear. I feel good about making content now. Like, you know what I'm saying? I even treated myself after. I went and got some sushi. After. Like what? Like back in the day, that would have broke me. I would have been mad as hell. I would have been cursing out the person that found the phone and didn't return it. I would have been cursing out myself. I would have been mad at the world. I would have been stuck on the fact that I had to waste so much money on a freaking phone. But my mindset just changed. Like, and I'm starting to realize too, y'all, money is energy. Like, money comes and money goes. I used to be so upset sometimes. Like when I would get a lump sum of money, it would just seem like everything will come out of the woodworks for me to have to pay something off. And I would just be like, oh my God, right when I finally have a little bit of money, like X, Y, and Z happens. But I started looking at it differently. I started looking at it in a way that like, instead of worrying about, I have to waste my money on these things that are coming up right now, how about I look at it as, thank God, maybe these things were going to happen anyway, right? So thank God I now have the money to spend on these things and resolve these problems. Oof, mind shift. So yeah, like I just feel like, I'm learning so much compassion for myself, y'all. And when I tell you that I've always had compassion for people, but not for myself, because I've always been so hard on myself, because I hold myself to like the most impossible standards. Like you have no idea. And it's so hypocritical, right? Because if anything that I perceived as like my mistake or something bad I did, if it happened to one of my friends or someone close to me, I would be the first person to console them, like let them know it's not their fault. Or even if they did play a part in it, like I soften it up a little bit and try to see like the bright side and try to come to like a solution. And I could never do that for myself. And I'm so glad that I'm finally learning to do it. I was talking to the sales associate when I was buying my phone, and we were talking about the situation, and he said something and it stuck with me. And he was just like, you know, when something bad happens to you, you can't also punish yourself and make yourself feel bad after something bad happens. And I was like, yes. Like you can't punish yourself and make yourself feel bad. And I think it's this idea that like, if bad shit happens to me, then I must be bad because I attract bad. And the truth is, bad shit happens in general. Like you could be Mother Teresa, you could be the best person in the world. Bad shit happens, but it's how you interpret it. It's what you take from it, what you learn from it, and how you bounce back. And that's what I'm starting to understand. And I feel like now that I'm shifting my mindset and realizing that life is not happening to me, life is just happening, and I have to just build my emotional endurance and shift my mindset to not just look at the problems, but like try to find the solutions. It has been life-changing. And y'all, I don't know, I feel like I'm starting to become friends with myself. And I know that sounds like really weird, but it's so true. And I know sometimes we might think that we love ourselves and like we're locked in with ourselves, but y'all, being locked in with yourselves mean having your back, like having your back. The same way you would have your back if somebody else was like talking shit about your friend, or like if your friend was down and you would show up and you would bring all the goodies and like good energy and good vibes to like cheer them up. Like the same way that you would try to help them solve a problem and try to just be like supportive. That is the energy that you need to have with yourself. If you don't have the energy that you have with other people, with yourself, y'all, pointless. One thing that I want to point out to y'all is that it's really hard to befriend yourself after you've let yourself down a lot and you kind of have this perception of yourself that you don't keep your own word. It's just like when someone else lets you down, you know what I'm saying? When you are counting on someone and they let you down and they don't keep your word to you, like, you keep your distance from that person. You don't trust them. They're not reliable. So it's hard. That person has to prove themselves to you for you to regain that trust and like establish relationship with them again. That is the same way it needs to be with yourself. Like, you need to earn your trust back with yourself. And the only way you're going to earn your trust back is not by being hard on yourself and being an asshole to yourself. It's by being kind to yourself, doing what matters, showing up for yourself, and just being a good friend to yourself. Honestly, being a good friend to yourself, showing up for yourself. Y'all, it's so easy for us to be so hard on ourselves sometimes because we equate like our intelligence and the things and the dynamics and the extensiveness of situations that we have in our mind. We think that that's how everything should be manifested in the physical realm. But we also have to understand that we're human. We are flawed. We make mistakes, and we're supposed to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. A life without mistakes is a boring ass life. You have to learn. You have to do. Another thing, y'all, is that you're not always going to have the energy to put into yourself, okay? When you're first starting to try to create a relationship with yourself and try to love yourself and, you know, try to show up for yourself, and you haven't in a long time and you've been in a period of neglect for a long time, it's going to be very hard to channel that. And sometimes you'll sit and wait for like, oh my God, I'm going to wait until I feel that motivation, or I'm going to wait until I feel like my sparkle is coming back. And then when my sparkle comes back, like, I'll just feel better about myself and I'll just be in this like euphoria and I'll just be able to like XYZ and like do all this for myself. It doesn't work like that. You have to start when you don't feel it. You have to start when you don't feel it. Eventually, when you start doing things differently and you start showing up for yourself, you start putting effort into yourself, you will eventually start feeling that motivation because you will start seeing physical changes, tangible changes in how you present and how you feel based on the effort that you're putting into yourself. I'll give you an example. I spent a really long time, especially in the past year, like really neglecting myself. It was to the point, y'all, I swear to God, I didn't even have no woman clothes. Like, I lost touch with like my feminine side. Like, if someone asked me to go out somewhere, like, I didn't even have a dress to put on. Y'all, I didn't do no makeup. I didn't really do my hair, and I didn't even give a shit, y'all. I would go to work. I swear to God, like, I know people at my job must have like thought that I was homeless, or they just thought that I didn't care or I didn't give a fuck, because I would go to work with like, I would just put up a messy bun and I wouldn't even comb my hair, bro. I wouldn't even comb my hair. My hair would be so messy. Like, my clothes looked like I had been sitting for 27 hours in front of the TV screen, like just eating Cheetos and like playing video games. Like, that's what I look like when I went to work, when I went to important places, because I had like almost given up on myself. But ever since I realized, like, just because I experienced neglect, whether it's neglect from family, neglect in relationships, and I kind of learned how to be neglectful of myself, I mirrored that energy. I feel like I experienced so much neglect in my life that I learned to neglect myself. And just because that has been my pattern doesn't mean I have to stay that way. And the only way to really get your sparkle back is to start putting the energy into yourself. Even when I didn't feel like it, y'all, I swear to God, I was like, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm waking up, I'm putting on makeup. Before that, I took myself, I'm a little tight on the budget, okay? So I took myself to the thrift store and I bought a whole bunch of cute clothing, feminine clothing. Like, I was like, what is my style right now? Like, I've been dressing like a 14-year-old skater. Like, I don't know. I can't even, and there's nothing wrong with dressing like that, but y'all, I missed my feminine side. I missed that energy of just feeling like a bad bitch. Like, I missed that version of myself that felt confidence. So I went to the thrift store and I was like, what is my style now? Like, what do I want to wear? And I started buying like, I don't know what's going on in my throat. Okay. So I started buying like these nice cardigans and like this little scarf and like just different clothing that made me feel comfortable, but also feminine and stylish, and kind of like resonated with this place that I am in my life right now. And on top of that, like, I would wake up a little extra early and I would put makeup every day. And let me tell y'all, I don't have a whole bunch of makeup, okay? And I didn't even have brushes. I didn't even have a sponge. When I tell y'all, I had 2 foundations that neither match my complexion. One was way too light, one was way too dark. And I would just take a little and I would mix it up. Finger paint, okay? I didn't even have a brush. When I tell y'all, I used to take the blush and like mix it with like a little bit of my moisturizer to kind of make it creamy. And I would just boop, 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 and like blend it in. I would put my mascara, I'd put a little, finger eyeshadow and my lip gloss. And I would just make sure that I did my hair. Even if I put it in a bun, I make sure I combed it. I make sure that it wasn't like frizzy everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Even something like this, like at least it's kind of like tamed. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't take much effort. But the point is, I started to put that effort into myself. And when I tell y'all, my back straightened out, like my energy was different. Like I started feeling pretty. And I know that it's not all about like physical looks. And I tried to tell myself that over the past year, like, oh, this is just my authentic self. And don't get me wrong, yes, you should be able to be your authentic self in the way that, like, if you had no choice but to be stripped down and you ain't have nothing to put on and whatever, you should be able to still go out there with confidence. But that shouldn't be your goal, just to always be in that environment, because you should want to show up in a certain way to have a certain energy. You know what I'm saying? Like confidence, when you look good, you feel good. So I started just feeling confident, and like even clients were like, oh my God, you look so different. I ain't do damn thing but just fix myself up a little bit. That's the whole point. And I started really just getting that confidence back, my little va-va-voom. And I'm at a point where not only did I fix the physical part of myself that I felt like I was kind of neglecting and just feeling, I wasn't feeling cute. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't feeling feminine. I wasn't feeling that. But I also started to change my mindset. I started to look for the positives in things. I started to look for, how can I push past fear? I understand that I do want a life of comfort. And when I say I do want a life of comfort, I want the things that resonate with my soul and feel good in my soul. Not that I want to stay in my comfort zone of not challenging myself. But I was like, how can I change my mindset? Because let me just tell you, like for a long time have been like a black and white thinker. It is or it isn't. Like I'm on or I'm off. And that served me in some ways, but in a lot of ways it was very detrimental, because when I was in a negative mentality, like it was really hard to convince myself of anything otherwise. Like I could be the best person to talk to for someone else and convince them of like how there's solutions to their issues and like paint a whole picture. But when it came to myself, I just couldn't do that. But now I feel like since I've been working on changing that mentality and kind of working on myself, I feel like a different person. Y'all would have to know me from way back when to know how far I've come. Like I can't even explain. Like when I tell you I was so insecure, bro, my ego was so fragile. My everything, I was like paper thin. Everything upset me. I was so sensitive. I was sensitive to the point where I couldn't be myself because I felt like a target for everyone else. And that's just not how life is. Like at the end of the day, sometimes we think that people are so concerned about like us or what we got going on. And half the time people are so concerned about themselves, they ain't even watching you. They don't even care. So just do you. Just do you. They literally don't care. And even if someone does care, and even if they do talk shit, it's momentary. It's momentary, and who cares? Do you respect people that talk shit? No. So if you don't respect them, why would you care what they have to say anyway? And y'all, this has become a really long-winded rant, and I gotta go get back to one of my clients, but I just wanted to say that, like, y'all, be open to different perspectives. Be open to connecting with yourself in ways that you're not used to. Trust the process, y'all. Trust the process.